Okay. The last couple of days, I've been using this YouTube um Go Live service offered by YouTube to promote my webcam iPages and other aspects of a business plan that I've created for local independent business owners. And I call them zip code cities. Now, if you've seen the first two, and they're on my YouTube website, and they're on my uh, uh, website, which is webcam ipages.com. Um, you start to understand how I'm segregating local independent business owners to give them in a membership advertising marketing program to give them an edge uh, in about the only way possible that they can grow their business today based on the current status of advertising available to them and so forth, which is zero. No small business can advertise today and be effective and efficient using the common business practice of advertising, which is uh, advertising is not uh, word of mouth. That's one kind of advertising. And if you're in business 50 years and you've built up a heck of a referral based on previous business customers, fine. That's wonderful. But if you're a young businessman starting out and you want to rely on word of mouth, well, good luck. How's that going to work for you? Not very well, is the answer, because uh, uh, people, they share information and so on and so forth. But if you're serious about growing your business, then you better have some kind of a system, a business practice, a business model that has been proven to work or is in the process of being proven to work. And it has to be not only effective, which is what in the process of being proven to be effective is a definition of. It also has to be efficient. In other words, you have to be able to afford it. It doesn't matter if they've got this outfit out here that says, "Well, we can build your business. It only costs you $942,000 a year." Well, good luck if you're a small businessman and grabbing that kind of a deal. And that's 99.9% of them today. And the reason is because these people that are in advertising today or selling advertising today have this lofty idea that their value to customers and businesses today is worth what they're charging for their service. Uh, it's amazing to me. I mean, of course, I've been around a lot longer than most people today that are in business or even alive, a lot of them, because I started out my human life activity in 1940. So you can tell that I have a good reservoir of experience in order to draw on to get a perspective that's a lot wider than most people, considering the fact that I started out in sales when I was 8 years old in 1948, knocking on doors in my neighborhood selling colored boxed greeting cards, and was very successful at it, by the way. And I went on to through high school selling cookware and cutlery and china to young working girls, and then right out of high school, I went to work for a national company, Royal McBee Typewriter Company. That is a company that's not in existence anymore today, of course. But that was in 1959, I think it was. And then from there, I went to work for another national consumer products company based out of New York City, and I had a sales territory out in Kearney, Nebraska, and then from there I went to another national consumer products company based out of New York City, and I had a territory of Nebraska. And then from there, I went to work for a national hospital medical supply company based out of Milwaukee, and had a territory out of Omaha. That was approximately half of the state, and did exceptionally well there. I The first 2 years I was with the company, I won the only three awards the company offered for sales excellence. So that gives you an idea. And from there, I went to work and bought 10 franchise address franchises of a very popular and one of the oldest franchise companies in business today. It's one of the largest in business today. It's an international company today. And then I continued on throughout my career and went into importing. So I've done importing, and I did millions of dollars worth of import business with a product that I introduced into the United States that had never been sold in the United States before I sold the first one. So I'm not telling you all that to brag to you. That's not my nature to brag. Not very much. Only when necessary. So, but I'm only mentioning that so that when I talk, I uh, I have a basis from which I can talk. In other words, I'm just not blowing smoke at you. Uh, if you've got experience, you can make statements, and people can question them. That's their right. But it's kind of stupid to question some guy that's got 70 years of experience in the field of marketing and sales. Now, to give you a good idea what I'm talking about, in the news for the past several years has been the situation on our border, right? Okay, well, and you might have your ideas about whether that's a good thing. The wall that everybody knows about, some people think it's crazy and they don't want it for their reasons. And some people think it's the only way to go and they want it. They think it's that way for their reasons. And so I says from a marketing, you see, I look at things altogether different. Most people do because of my marketing background, sales background, business background. Frankly, the deal is either going to get straightened out or it is going to get straightened out, and it's going to get straightened out according to your perspective on how should be straightened out when you're talking about the controversy about the wall and all of the ramifications of our USA immigration policy. It's going to get. I mean, those kind of things. And as our current president says, is this has been a problem for many decades now, and we've seen what we have today as a result of it, and everybody's got their idea of what's about it, whether it's this way or that way, and frankly. I'm not even talking about that, but from a market. So I've got Border Wall News Group. Okay, now the average person would right off the bat they would think, well, that's something to do with the border wall. Well, absolutely not. I'll tell you what, I don't want anything to do with that controversy because uh, I don't care whether you think the border wall is right or whether you think the border wall is wrong. What I'm interested in doing is convincing you that my business plan is the thing to take advantage of because it'll save you money if up to one third of your purchases. See, so I'm jumping on. I call it piggyback marketing, and you can plug that in, piggyback marketing, and you'll see a website pop up that is a concept of tripping on the popular items, the trends in the news of the day, and tripping on that in order to get attention, because attention is the first rule in selling. Maybe you didn't know that or not. You say, but it is. It's 101. It's selling 101. If you can't get attention, if you're in sales, and you better pack your bags and go out and be a geologist or something, because you're out of luck if you can't get attention. Now, I have to immediately follow off on that because any fool can get attention. There's guys standing on the street that sound in a clown suit waving a sign. Well, that's one kind of attention. But the reason they call it in sales, the reason we call it 101. And by the way, I've been a sales manager since I'm 23 years old, also, and I was field recognized as having the ability to train salespeople when I was 23 years old. I was promoted by one of those companies I mentioned that I worked for back in my early days of my sales career. They promoted me out of the Omaha State a territory manager job into a 5-state district job as a district sales manager when I was 23 years old at the time. So, and I've been in sales management ever since then, in one form or another, having organized national sales organizations, regional sales organizations, local sales organizations, statewide sales organizations, you name it. I know how to organize people, train people to sell, because selling is not people. You hear this old story about people are born to be salespeople. Well, there's a small little sliver of that that's true, and that is if you happen to be blessed with a persuasive personality, which has to do with your genetic structure of your family tree in your biological body, which is another story. But and I happen to have a persuasive person genetic structure that runs along the line of persuasive personality structure, and that was proven and set up by my by psychological tests that I endured when I worked for the largest insurance company in the United States as an association, and the Nebraska Association, selling their independent health insurance contracts to farmers and to local small businesses that couldn't apply for their group insurance. And you know which one I'm talking about. If you can envision a blue, then you know what I'm talking about. So, and by the way, when I worked for them, first time I went for them, they put me in the worst territory they had, out out in Holt County, O'Neill, Nebraska, and there are more cows out there than there is people to sell insurance to. But I went to when I quadrupled the sales of that territory, that region. So they promoted me to a larger territory in Norfolk, and I doubled the sales there. It was hard to quadruple that because the sales were 4 times as much as one out in Holt County when I took it over. But I did double the sales, and when I did that, why then the marketing vice president of the company came out to see me and offered me, said, I want to create a director of sales position for you to train the other salespeople in the company how to sell the way you sell, because none of them are selling as well as you are, have done as well as you are. And I'd never sold insurance before in my life before I went to work for that company, by the way. So, and there again, this might sound like I'm bragging, but again, I'm just reinforcing to you the fact that I know I'm like Donald Trump. I know what I'm talking about. You may agree with that, you may not. But I happen to respect the man because I don't look at him as the president, although I think he does a good job where he can. He's got a tough road to hoe because there's a lot of people that are fighting against him instead of with him. And that makes it hard when you're trying to get something done. When you got a whole slew of people that are outnumbered you 190,000 to 1, which is what the deal is when you got the whole federal government practically is working against him instead of helping him, which is what the way it's supposed to be. But I digress. I apologize. No, I don't. Anyway, the thing is, look at what he's done in his business career. I mean, if you're stupid enough to think that he was, and you could argue. There's people that say, well, yeah, he's a crooked, and so on and so forth, and so on and so on and so on. Well, maybe that might be true, but so far he's avoided jail time. There's a lot of other businessmen that are supposedly successful that haven't. So until he gets convicted and put in jail, well, then let's call him successful because that's what he is. And if you're not honest enough to admit that, then you're not even worth listening to my programs, frankly, that I put on the internet. So I mean, just looking at reality, the guys he started out, and I don't care whether his dad or mom gave him a lot of money to start off with or not, or he borrowed from, or whatever he did. Uh, that's not that's not unique in the United States. In fact, most of the wealth in the United States comes from families. It doesn't, people unless you go back to the 1900s or 1800s, where people started out and made a lot of money because you could do that then. It's not easy today to make a lot of money, regardless of what a lot of people say. I mean, if you don't have some way to get that funded and get a lot of money to throw at your business plan today, uh, good luck, because the data shows that most businesses that start up fail within the first 5 years. By far, most of them fail. And a lot of them that start up with a lot of whoop, 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 a lot of money invested, a lot of money invested. Uh, is work for years before they're not even profitable. For years they work along having all those advantages, and they're still not profitable. And I don't know what the problem is there, but I would say it's probably because stupid management. But that's just a guess. You understand? But I know from my personal experience, I know that that sort of thing goes on because when I mentioned I was in the importing business, I got involved with people and I set them up. I was the original seller of this particular concept. It was happened to be a machine, and I imported it from Germany, and I got people involved in it. I was young at the time; I was in my early 30s, mid 30s, and not as much experience. Although I'd had 20 years of sales experience and successful sales experience when I did that importing. So I was way ahead of the game then, but I got people involved in with me that had a lot of money but didn't have a lot of experience in sales and marketing. They had their experience in other fields that I sold the machine to that fit their particular business. Well, what they did was they thought they knew more about that machine than I did. So they got this machine was patented, so they put together, some of the people that I brought into the business put together a company, and they thought they knew how to build it better, and so they filed a claim on the patent, and for years they fought the patent because they had a lot of bank investment, and it took that company 20 years to go broke, but they went broke because they did something with that machine wasn't designed to do. And they tried to sell it to a market that machine was designed for, that market, not to sell it to that market but to a different market. Do you follow all that? You probably don't, because there again, you've got to have my perspective and my experience to understand what I just said. If you're interested, get a hold of me and I'll explain to you in detail. Okay. But anyway, so back to the Border Wall News Group. You see, now right off the bat, that gets attention today. If anybody sees that Border Wall News Group, they're going to wonder what that is. Most people that are halfway alert. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that aren't, and that's fine. If you're not halfway alert, that's your business. Whatever. But there's still a lot of people. The other half are kind of halfway alert, at least. And if they see, especially with it being in the news and everything today, border wall, blah, blah, blah. So they go, well, what's that border wall? Well, if you go to borderwallnewsgroup.com, the first thing you're going to see is zip code cities. Now, what's that all about? Zip code cities. Well, does that have something to do with the border? Well, then look over to the right, and you'll see uh, you'll see another little deal, and then you'll see this video, and it goes on to explain to you that it doesn't have anything to do with the border wall. It has to do with the border that's around the zip code where I sell an advertising and marketing plan to local independent business owners based on business advertising by category. And what that means is I only let one category in a zip code. Now, if you saw the first two videos, then you understand what that means. And I'm not going to go into it again. You can check into it further, and I don't need to go into it again because I'll take it on the street and explain it to the business owners, and then they'll explain it to their customers. So there's the idea of the business side of Border Wall News Group, and the Border Wall News Group is an idea that is attached to my piggyback marketing idea that piggybacks on all of the attention in the news and everything that Border Walls is getting, but funneling and channeling that attention into the direction that I want it to go for my local independent business owners that are approved, that are part of my business plan designed to get them more customers and personal income through their market share swingers outcome, which is a concept that I've had that's associated with everything I just said, in the idea that everybody is spending a certain amount of money in each category, not everybody, but the each category of business today. Think of the yellow pages. There's a certain amount of money being spent for products every day in every zip code across the country in every town, right? Yeah, right. That's what we call the gross national product consumer purchases. Okay, and depending on the category, you can look it up, see how much business is being done in that category. And then you spread that out across all the zip codes and all the businesses that are in that zip code. But the problem, if you're in that category, in that zip code, you've got competition. First of all, you've got half of the money that's being sold, being generated in that category is being generated with by customers in franchise businesses. Well, if you don't own a franchise, but you're in that category and you've got a local business, well, you're in trouble because the half of those people going there think they're getting a good deal. The reason why they're going to that franchise. Uh, but the fact of the matter is, they're being people that go to a franchise, whether they know it or not, or whether you know it or not, you're being price gouged out of your pants almost because anywhere from 15 to 30% of the money you're spending is going to the franchise company. It has nothing to do with what you're buying. You're not, in other words, you're paying 30%, 15 to 30% more money for what you're buying from that franchise than you would pay if you went down the street and you dealt with my business as a member in my business exclusively in that category in that zip code, and I do subcategories on restaurants. So because why would somebody continue to go either to a local independent business owner in that category if it's a restaurant in that category because I subcategorize, why would they keep going there to spend a third 15 to 30% more than going over to where my business owner is at that can sell it and how can he why can he sell it for the that for a lower amount than see local independent business owners look at the franchise outfits and look at their pricing. I even saw a thing on the internet the other day where they're doing research to find out what the franchise companies are charging so they know what to charge in their local independent business, which is another way of committing suicide because when you get an opportunity as a consumer to save 15 to 30%, if you stop going to a place where you're being price gouged and you go over to a place that's just simply selling you the product for the business cost plus the operation costs and then a reasonable profit, which is 15 to 30% lower than what you've been spending for that particular category of product. Like I said, you might be ignorant about a lot of things, but you're not stupid. You're not going to continue to pay unless you are stupid, which you I don't think you are, because most people look if you want to spend 30 to 15% more for what you buy where you buy it. God bless you, brothers and sisters. That's wonderful. But I know that about half of the United States is considered to be low income. Okay, according to data that's available on the internet, about half of the United States, about half of the zip codes are considered to be low income, and they place that income figure at about 60 grand a year. So there's a lot of people out there that if they can save 15 to 30% on money they're already spending. This is not a matter of trying to get somebody to buy something where they're not buying it now. No, this is a way to impress on them the fact that they're being price gouged where they're spending their money now and moving them over to somebody who's got a smart, experienced background business plan that makes sense. And why do business people join my business plan? Because I'm the only advertiser on the internet that takes all, and this is a written advertising marketing agreement. I take all the money that's being spent for my program, and I tell the business people that sign up for it in their category to get their exclusive in their zip code that 100% of that money is going to be spent to promote the group's business. And they say, well, how can you do that? Well, it's real simple. You do a CPA audit on all the membership income, and you have the CPA publish an audit online that shows every dollar that came in and every dollar that went out, and it zeroes out every audit. So that proves that I take all the money that comes in and spend it to promote my business owners. No advertiser does that. I don't care what kind of advertising there is, they don't do that. And not only that, but mine costs anywhere from 70 to 60 to 70% less or 80% less than any other form of advertising that you can buy as a local independent business owner. And which there's some out there, but as I say, why would you, if you were a business owner, and then they don't offer you an exclusive, it's 70 to 80% higher what they charge, and they don't offer you an exclusive in your category. You're thrown in. You see, advertising is designed to create competition for the people that buy it. Nobody has ever, when I say that to people, they look at me like a calf looking at a new gate. They say, well, what do you mean advertising is supposed to get me customers? Well, yeah, but it gets customers, whatever is being advertised, there's everybody in the world that's selling the same thing you are, or not everybody in the world, but you understand what I'm saying? So when you buy advertising and you're trying to promote what you sell, whatever it is you sell, well, if the advertiser's not stupid, I mean, the guy that's selling the advertising, the woman that's selling the advertising, they're going to go to your competitor and they're in your category and they're going, you better buy some advertising because all this other outfit that's selling the same thing you are is buying advertising, so you better buy something too to protect your business. Well, yeah, that's what they do. And it used to be that they had enough integrity, like the broadcasters and the TV, and but with the internet now, there's no integrity anymore in advertising. They'll run two car manufacturers ads back to back, two real estate operations back to back, two different kinds of companies that selling the same product. They'll run them back to back. So advertising, if you're in business, and just think, there's billions, hundreds of billions of dollars spent on advertising, and it's all designed to create competition against the companies that are buying the advertising. And what does that do when you consider that every penny of the cost of advertising is put onto the price that the consumer, pays? Oh, you thought you thought that was making what you're buying cost less when you see a lot of advertising? Oh no, no. Oh, you're paying for every penny of advertising on purchases of products that you buy. So when you think you're getting a low price, on a particular item because you're buying one of these outfits that's getting all these government subsidies in order to be able to do this, that, or the other thing because they are doing things for the government and they're buying their way into their position with subsidies in kind type of exchange value. You probably didn't understand what I just said, but believe me, this is going on all the time now. There's starting to wake up a little bit. Maybe they're going to probably look into that and maybe stop some of that that's going on. Hopefully, but don't hold out too much hope because it's been going on forever, and I don't think it's going to ever probably change. But maybe it might. You know, the hope never hope eternal. All right, but the thing is, advertising creates competition, except with my program because you see, I offer a program with integrity. I only sell one category or subcategory if you're in the food business in one zip code. And you say, "Wow, why one zip code?" Well, because one zip code's got more consumers living in it than any one category of business can handle if they all start coming. And if they all and right now that business is going diffused all over to everywhere, except for the business that's going to become my business owner member associate. Okay. So anyway, there you go. Been yakking here 30 minutes already. Keep on this. Watch this carefully. Stay with it because it's beneficial for you. And it's beneficial for the associates that'll be involved with the program.